Howdy, folks. I'm Happy Honeydew Melon, honestly helping honorable honeybees.
I'm Amber.
And here are more honorable honeybees for us to help by drowning them in honeydew
No,
juices.
no, the blossoms are providing nectar.
Of course they are. We'll go with Amber's answer. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for sending my friend a photo zoomed in of a spider's face, knowing that she has arachnophobia, as a public prank? I am a 32-year-old male, and I have a friend who's a 29-year-old female who is extremely arachnophobic. Even seeing photos of a spider, she will scream like it is in real life, like a horror movie scream, and her face gets all red and flushed. I was in a group of friends, and I sent her a picture on Snapchat. It was a zoomed-in photo of a fishing spider's face, and it was the first photo on Google that you search when you type in the word spider. I did not tell her what the message was, just that, hey, I sent you a message, can you check it out? As if I was telling a secret discreetly. The second she saw the photo, she threw her phone, let out a literal horror movie scream in a public bar, and then she got furious at me and is not speaking to me anymore. Everyone in her group except one friend laughed hysterically and found it funny. Her friend said that the photo was not funny at all, and that her friend actually had a panic attack, and that her heart rate went through the roof, and that she was mentally in shock for hours after seeing the photo. I did not realize that she would react poorly, just that it would scare her for a quick laugh. I did not realize how extensive her arachnophobia was. I feel terrible, and I've tried apologizing, and she said that she needs space. Am I the jerk here? Update. My friend called me and decided to accept my apology. And the reason why was that she remembered a time about 10 years ago when she and her boyfriend played a similar prank on me. Not with spiders, but by placing food all over my body while I was on the tanning on a beach that led me to be attacked by a seagull, which was very traumatizing for me. And she concluded that what she had done was worse, and if I could forgive her, then she could do the same for me. Alright, folks, what do you think of this?
I mean, yes, OP's a jerk. Like, the friend also shouldn't have put food on someone, but I don't think the goal was to get them attacked by seagulls so much as to give them uneven tan lines, I'm guessing. I'm hoping.
I don't know. Like, why else would you put food? Why not, like, rocks and shells and stuff like that on
I
them?
mean, that's fair. I don't know what they were doing or why they were thinking. So she could be a jerk too, but that doesn't give you the right to use someone's phobia against them.
So, reading between the lines here, I feel like these two probably have a prank-like relationship where they might pull small pranks on each other. And I'm really hoping that OP didn't realize how bad her arachnophobia was, because there are some people who do have arachnophobia where it freaks them out a little bit, but they're not like full-blown panic attacks, right? But there are people like OP's friend here who, when they have these, have arachnophobia, they go into full-blown panic attacks, right? So I think that it may just be that OP had a poor judgment call more than anything, right? Maybe I'm being a little too charitable here. What do you think?
I mean, I get that OP didn't understand the magnitude of it, but what's funny about making someone scream in a crowded bar? Like, the goal
No.
was to humiliate her no matter what. A joke should be something that everyone is laughing at, not laughing at someone else. Like, it should be the person who's being pranked should be having a good time too, and clearly she wasn't.
Yeah, and that includes being attacked by seagulls or not.
Well, yeah, like they could both be jerks. We can both say the jerk here with the update, but like it doesn't excuse OP's behavior.
Since it is a little murky here, let's call on the Wheel of Judgment to judge OP. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment OP's earned. You're the jerk, the villain of your own story. The wheel has spoken, folks. The wheel has spoken. And 12-Day Slate says, you're the jerk. That wasn't a prank, it was cruel. Why would you do that? Friends don't knowingly traumatize their friends. And OP replied, I did not realize until today arachnophobia was a clinical diagnosis as an actual phobia, and I thought that she was just scared, like a normal feeling of fright. And 12-day Slate says, okay, but even if you didn't realize how serious it was, why would you send her a photo of something that scares her? And then you and others mocked her when she responded in fear. And OP replies, I feel really bad about it. I tried apologizing and she's not replying. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my cousin that it's her fault that her patient may have regressed in her treatment? Hi everyone, I need some judgment on my situation. Every year, my 30-year-old female extended family gets together and we have a family picnic. It's lots of fun, and we typically have a great time. However, it was different this time around. My cousin, a 32-year-old female, was in attendance, and typically whenever we see her, she likes to tell and rant to us about her job as she works as a nurse. Here's the story that she told us this time around. A woman came into the hospital and needed an IV placed. The problem was that said patient was very needle phobic and let my cousin know. Patient then proceeded to do coping mechanisms that she had learned, which was closing her eyes, taking deep breaths, holding her sister's hand, and crying like a baby. My cousin's opinion on the situation was that it was totally ridiculous, and she let her patient have it. In her words, she sternly told the patient to grow up, and that her antics were ridiculous. Patient's sister explained that she had a genuine phobia, and to be patient with her. But cousin responded that it wasn't her job to deal with anybody's irrational fear, and not waste anybody's time. Cousin placed the IV in the patient while she was hysterical and left the room. Later, the patient's sister requested not to have my cousin as her nurse again. At some point, cousin was confronted by the sister who called her a nasty troll for talking to a patient that way, and berating somebody who was going through a hard time facing her fears. My cousin doubled down and told her that if the patient fear is that bad, then she should seek therapy for it and not waste resources. Here's where I became very concerned. Patient's sister says that her sister has been in cognitive behavioral therapy for a little while now to manage her phobia and medical anxiety, and that she has been making good progress. Now patient is refusing to seek future medical treatment and says that she would never open up about her fear again and is potentially regressing in her treatment, which she blamed my cousin for. I'm a therapist and I specialize in cognitive behavioral therapy. Many of my patients have phobias and medical anxiety. I've seen firsthand how debilitating it can be. I've had a few patients in the past who've regressed because of traumatic moments, and it seems highly likely that this would happen to the patient in the story. Well, my cousin proclaimed that it was ridiculous for the patient's sister to claim that it was her fault for the patient regressing in her treatment. I told my cousin that it was her fault. I told her that she chastised someone who was going through a hard time and doing her best to overcome a struggle. Because of that, the patient would probably never seek medical care again, or be honest with her medical team ever again. Fighting ensued. Now, some family members are on my cousin's side, saying that she was doing her job and that I made her feel bad, while others are on my side, saying that I was in the right and had the expertise to call her out. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And OP, I would also recommend reporting your sister because she should not be a healthcare provider. You know, when someone is coming to you in a very vulnerable state and needs support, you shouldn't like berate them and just get over your phobia. That's not how any of this works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as someone who has medical trauma, like I've been very lucky that like I've had a lot of providers who have been very like nice once we explain that I have, you know, anxiety and medical trauma. But if someone were to like start berating me, like, yeah, I don't want to go to the doctor anyway, but that's really gonna make me like not want to go, make me like even more distrustful.
Mm-hmm.
And so what she did was absolutely inexcusable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you here. I think that this was unexcusable and that OP should report her cousin. And the thing about being a medical provider is that one of your tenets are to do no harm, right? And if your patient is fighting severe trauma, then you go ahead and do something like this, then that's only going to cause them additional harm. Maybe, especially in the long term, when they can't get the proper medical care that they need to be happy and healthy, right?
Right. I mean, the sister really needs to be trained in trauma-informed care. Well, everyone should be trained in trauma-informed care, which will, you know, helps teach providers how to treat patients who have trauma. so that they don't do things like this.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that OP is not in the wrong here. I think the cousin deserves to feel bad about what she did because what she did should weigh on her conscience.
Mm-hmm.
It really should. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking Bets on How Long My Cousin's Second Marriage Will Last at Her Wedding Reception? My cousin just got married for the second time. Her first marriage ended in a messy divorce after a year and a half. She's kind of notorious in our family for rushing into things, and this new guy has only been around for a few months before they tied the knot. At the wedding reception, a few of us cousins were talking about how quickly everything happened again, and I kind of jokingly said, How long do you think this one will last this time? I got a few laughs, and before I knew it, people started throwing out guesses like 6 months, a year, 2 years, etc. It was all lighthearted at first, so I made it into an actual game, and I wrote everyone's bets down, and we all tossed some money into a pot. Everything was fine until one of my cousin's friends overheard what we were doing and told her about it. She freaked out, left her own reception early, and now the whole family is mad at me. They're saying that it was disrespectful and that I ruined her day. But honestly, I didn't mean for it to go that far. We were just joking around and didn't think that it would blow up like this. I feel bad, but at the same time, she does have a history of rushing into things. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. That was totally unnecessary. Like, if you're not going to a wedding to celebrate someone, don't go there. It's fine if you don't think her marriage will last, and but like to in the middle of her wedding reception start taking bets and writing everything down, like that's just cruel.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I can understand OP having some lingering questions in the back of their head
Mm-hmm.
about how long this marriage will last. And certainly, like, there's a time and a place to discuss those things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the wedding is really in poor form. It's poor etiquette. Like, you, as Amber really well put it really well, you're there to celebrate the couple. And if you're not interested in celebrating the couple, then don't be there, right? And I think that this is one of those situations where OP really needs to reflect on what kind of person they are, right?
Right. Well, and what good does this do? Like, if people are genuinely concerned that the cousin is rushing things, it may be worth having a conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, they're mocking her, and like making a laughing stock of her relationship, which
Yeah.
doesn't help anyone.
No, it really doesn't. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Lamb's English says, Yes, of course you're the jerk. Sitting there, eating her chicken, drinking her wine, and chatting and talking nonsense about her is objectively not a cool move. And Puzzle-Headed Ant 644 says, And everyone who threw in bets. And Zoomworg says, and so the one person who told her, instead of telling the folks, hey, it's not cool to stop it before she finds out. Edit, to be fair, as pointed out below, that friend may not have realized what they were doing at the time. Still a wrong move, though. I mean, that's actually something to talk about. Do you think the friend was in the right to tell the bride?
I mean, I don't think the friend did anything wrong. Like she could have told them to cut it out, but it's also important for the bride to know how like horrible her family is.
Maybe. I mean, like,
I
this
mean,
is
on
supposed
the
to be...
wedding day may not have been the time,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, I think like on the wedding day, it may have been better for the friend to have just said, "Hey, you folks need to knock this off," right? And then tell the cousin later,
hmm
because it really took a day that should have been really happy and put a gray cloud over it, right? And that's not the friend's fault, right? It's not the friend's fault that OP and these other people were being monstrous, but
hmm
maybe she should have used a little more discretion when it came to...
yeah, I mean, certainly the time may not have been right, but I do think the cousin should know that her family is this cruel.
Yeah, yeah. And Direct Conversation 48 says, yeah, taking bets on someone's relationship is disrespectful at any time. At their wedding is just ridiculous. Of course you're the jerk, and you owe your cousin a sincere apology. And DLG4 President says, and pay her back for your dinner. And Grandma Patty 64 says, give her the entire pot of bet money. What do you think about that idea?
I mean, I think that would be fair restitution.
I think it would be. Hopefully she gets a good chunk of change out of that. Or hopefully not, because I don't know which is worse. Alright, folks, and our last letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Texting My Landlord What Was Meant for My Wife. Today I messed up by sending an inappropriate text to my landlord. My wife has been dealing with a cold lately. She got up before me and texted me that her eyes were puffy and itchy while I myself have been laying in bed. Me, being the overly sarcastic type, I decided that I would text her as if she got pink eye. With a single blurry eye open and no glasses on, I texted her, "You shouldn't rub your eyes and pick at your butt." Except, about 30 seconds later, I noticed that the person that I sent it to wasn't my wife. It was Harris, my landlord. Harris is an innocent young kid that is acting as the property manager for his non-English speaking parents. He might be 18 to 20, I don't know. Harris and I both have iPhones, and I'm hoping that my unsend works. My wife is hoping that Harris gets the message, as she would love to know what he thought about that. All right, folks, what do you think about that?
I mean, that would be an interesting day for the landlord.
Yeah, well, hopefully he takes it in stride, and if he did see it, then he doesn't hold it against OP too much, or just was like, what is this all about? Thanks for the advice. I didn't really need it, though. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Try not to spell part backward. It's a trap.
That's a pretty good pun. It's a pretty good pun. Pretty good. Pretty good. And I have Earl Grey. And folks, as you can see from the tea board, I've added the special guest tea in there for future things, since I've been pulling in from my tea collection a little bit. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Terrific Tuesday, folks. That's Tuesday spelled with a TWO. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on being cruel.
Don't
be cruel. Don't be cruel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.